guys, it is J.Belle back with another episode of Breaking the Ceiling. I mean, he's a legend across the board. Okay, that's how I'm introducing him right now because he has been in the game for a long, long time. He is a DJ, he's a radio personality, syndicated radio personality. And on top of that, he's an entrepreneur. He's doing really big things in DC. Welcome to the series. DJ Quicksilva is in the building. There we go. Got to get the sound right. Welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me. I'm on it.
No problem. When I was coming up with this project with another organization called Radio Fam, we were thinking, how do we celebrate Black History Month without actually looking like we're just doing this just because? And because of the fact that I've seen a lot of the people that I have admire from afar their moves and all this other stuff, your name came to mind because of the fact you have so many different things going on. On top of that, you dealt with some controversy over that time, which I'm hoping we can talk about just a little bit. And you've bounced back really big with getting a syndicated show, you know, along with other things. You got all your plaques in the background, you know. So just a humble brag. So we're just going to jump right into it. The first question I got for you is, how did you get into DJing and how did it transition into you becoming a radio personality?
I got into DJing very, very long time ago. I don't want to age myself, but early 90s. So it's been over 25 plus years. Watching a movie called Beat Street. Fell in love with the character. Got my first set of turntables for Christmas at the age of 10. And I've been DJing literally every day of my life since. Got my first nightclub residency back in 95. And I first got into radio back in like 98, fresh out of high school. I got my first full-time radio gig in 2001 in Baltimore, X1057. I'm originally from Baltimore, but I've been in DC the last 20 years. But I was always the street club DJ for years. I was the big club DJ and mixtape DJ. And Thea Mitchum, who was the big boss at Clear Channel now, that's the person who discovered the Breakfast Club, and she's big time. She was my program director back in 2001 when I was just a DJ. And she said, you have way too much personality to just be a DJ. You got to be an on-air personality as well and talk. And I was like, nah, I don't want to do that. That's corny. I just want to DJ and rock parties and be the big guy in the streets. And I remember her telling me verbatim, and I quote, if you learn to be a personality, it's going to change your life. And I'm glad I listened to her because 20 plus years later, not just award-winning party DJ, I'm award-winning radio DJ as well. A lot of people don't know this is my first syndicated show. I started with Russ Parr. So I was a DJ on Russ Parr latest Ish Mix for years, about 8 years. So that was my first time being a part of a syndicated show. It wasn't my show, it was the Russ Parr show. We were in about 30 cities. And I did that for years, DJing on his show. But as far as with the Quicksilva Show, featuring, of course, my co-host Dominique Da Diva, this is my first only show that's my show. That's a syndicated show. But I've been in radio, like I said, I've been in radio I've done every shift. I've done night show. Me and Angie Ann started in 2007 together, the Q&A Invasion. Me and Lil Mo started together back in 2002 with the 5 o'clock roadblock in Baltimore. A lot of people know Lil Mo like my sister still to this day. We still talk daily. Right. But that was one of my first big shows was with her back in 2002. And like I say, I've been blessed. I've been blessed in my life and in my career to be where I always say, never let where you come from dictate where you're going. And I think I'm a walking testimony of a person who's been through everything, good, bad, and indifferent. But the key is consistency. I never gave up. And I continue pushing no matter what. I think a lot of people, they allow circumstances and life issues to happen and deter them from their path of greatness. Everybody's life is tailor-made for them. No matter what you're going through in life, if you want it bad enough and you put in my 3 principles, which are hard work, dedication, and consistency, I'm an example of a person that can make it no matter what.
Wow. First of all, I didn't know that you used to be part of the Russ Parr morning show.
Almost 8 years.
Yeah, and then on top of that, I did know about your morning. You had an afternoon show with Little Mo, but then you guys moved up to mornings. And you guys were actually on. So
we started, me and Lil Mo, our first full-time show together was back in 2001, 2002 in Baltimore, a station called X1057. And that was like my first time really being introduced to full-time radio. We were on the air for about a year. And that was probably one of the toughest parts of my life and career because I was 21 years old. I just bought my first home in Baltimore at the time. That's when I was still living there. And a year in, after me and Mo were number one in Baltimore, the station flipped formats and I got fired. And I remember my program director, Thea, at the time saying, you haven't been welcome to radio until you've been fired for doing absolutely nothing wrong. And at that moment, it made me realize that as much as I love radio and I'm still in radio, radio is still a stepping stone for something else. So you can't make it your goal. You have to, in order to be a successful radio personality, you have to be just as successful and established off of radio. And I learned that at a young age. And since then, I've been really grinding to make sure that I wasn't just a radio DJ. Because I never wanted to be a person that if I lose radio, I lose everything. So I've always marketed and branded myself as myself. And I've been on every radio station in Baltimore, DC. I've been on PGC at first, KYS, ERQ, you name it. I've been on every radio station, on every time slot. And I've had a number one show on every time slot. So
before you go for it, I wanted to ask that too, because of the fact that, like you said earlier, you have been on every day part, every station, but you stayed with KYS for a very long time. And so my question to you is, like, what has made you stay with this station and this company for so long? Like, you know,
I've been with KY. I started with Radio 1 back in 98, 99, just as a part-timer DJing. But I've been full-time. When I first came to DC, a lot of people forget that I'm born and raised in Baltimore. I've just been in DC radio for almost 20 years now. But when I first came to DC back in 2004, I was at PGC I was at 95.5. I was the 5 o'clock mixer. First was me and Easy Street. Then it was me and Adimu. Then it ended up being me and Tigger together. Me and Big Tigger had a show together on PGC at 5 from 2 to 6. And I was a 5 o'clock mixer. I stayed there until 2007. And I've been at KYS since 2007. So it's been almost 14 years now that I've been at KYS. But right now, I'm blessed that even though my show is heard on KYS, I'm not technically on KYS anymore. My show is on Reach Media now. So for people who know about radio, you have Urban One, which is like the local department. Right. And then you have Reach Media, which is the national syndicated department. My show has now been picked up by Reach Media, which means my show is now heard. A lot of people, I think because I've been on in DC so long, people think that my show is just like a DC show. My show right now is in DC, Baltimore, Virginia, Philly, Jersey, Delaware, Cincinnati, Columbus, Ohio. We just picked up Mississippi today. I'm in about 10 different cities right now.
Wow.
But my home base is still
DC
because I live in the DMV area.
Right.
So this is still my home base, but my show is no longer a local show anymore.
Right. You're syndicated.
Blessing.
And I'm glad you talked about that, because of the fact that, you know, so many of us radio personalities, that's one of our goals, either to do mornings and be syndicated, or at least be syndicated in a day part. And so I want to ask you, like, what are some of the pros and cons of being syndicated now?
A good blessing right now with the show. So of course the show is called the Quicksilva Show with Dominique Da Diva. Shout out to Diva, an amazing co-host, an amazing talent, an amazing and super hard worker.
Right.
But the con, I would say, is that because we're on in so many markets, sometimes if something is going on in DC that really wants all of my attention, I can't give it, because right now, let's just say I'm talking to you, and right now, I don't know, something's really happening in DC.
Right.
Unfortunately, if it's not national news, the people in Columbus, Ohio, Mississippi, Philadelphia, Jersey, like, they don't care. Right. So if I focus all of my attention on just that, I'm going to lose all my other listeners. So the pro of it is I have such a bigger platform that my voice is heard, and I really changed lives. At this point in my life, I'm not in radio for fame or money. I'm really in radio to save lives. My vitamin of the day is my favorite feature, because that's a feature I do that's from my heart daily. But I love the fact that I see people on social media saying, thank you for that vitamin. I was going to give up on life, but you're the reason I didn't. Things like that mean more to me than any of these. I have more platinum plaques than I can count.
Right.
But that means more to me than me being the number one DJ in the East Coast. I don't like. I mean, I love it, and I'm thankful to God that I've gotten these accolades and awards. But I'm not in it for that reason anymore. I'm really in it to help other people. I'm a firm believer, to whom much is given, much is required. And I think at this point in my life, I'm just a vessel that's using my show to save lives, to entertain people, and even during the worst of times, just to make you smile. Because a lot of times when you're turning to radio, you're turning there for information and for music. But I really want to get away from all the madness. Right now I'm dealing with COVID, injustice. I'm dealing with so much other BS.
Right.
I want to turn on the Quicksilva Show with Diva and just have fun on the quick mix and just think quick, and like just, it takes my mind away from it for 15 minutes, 20 minutes. And that's my goal of the show daily.
Well, I definitely love your vitamin of the day, because I follow you on Twitter and on Instagram. And when I see some of your messages, I'm like, dang, that hits the heart. And so I definitely understand where you're coming from on that.
Absolutely.
And I'm glad that you brought up the whole, people trying to escape reality. COVID hit really hard for radio last year. A lot of people lost their jobs. And I know a lot of people are thankful to still keep their jobs. But on top of you being a radio personality and a DJ, you're also an entrepreneur. You have a couple of businesses of your own, including a nightclub in Baltimore and a DJ school. Now, how much were those businesses affected during COVID? You know what I'm saying?
My nightclub was really affected. I was forced to close. Right now, I'm still in what they call the limbo phase, where I can eventually reopen again. Like, I didn't lose the business or anything, but because of the guidelines, I'm right now in Maryland. Only restaurants can open. So if you're a restaurant, you're a restaurant license, you can open at limited capacity. Blah blah blah. For full-fledged nightclubs with no kitchen, right now they're not allowing us to open yet. Because of the amount of people that normally come into the nightclub. So right now, I've been downtown's been shut down since April. It's almost 9 months, so it's really been affected. But thankful to God, I have so many other things going on that it did in my life. Quick and Easy DJs is the name of my DJ school, which is doing amazing. Open now almost close to a year. My first location is actually in Baltimore, but I'm actually opening. You're getting an exclusive right now. I'm opening a second location in DC, probably in the next month.
Wow.
We're really expanding Quick and Easy DJs to eventually. I want to be in every market that I have a show in. On top of that, of course, I don't know if you know, I'm signed with Remy Martin. I'm signed with Puma. So I'm doing a lot of their national stuff virtually. I've been doing that for the last few months. I'm still the face of DTLR and DTLR Radio. We have over 200 plus stores across the country. So you can still hear me on DTLR Radio daily in every store in the country every day. I have a lot going on.
Yeah,
on top of still being a family man, I'm a husband and a dad. I have 2 kids. My princess has a business that's booming called Fashion Ashton. She's only 8 years old, but she got that entrepreneurial spirit from my dad and her mom. So her business is booming. If anybody has any kids or mommy and me, check out fashionashton.com. You'll see she has everything from makeup to bags to clothes to everything. And my wife Ashley has a company called Funtime Moms, which is booming as well.
Gotta keep it in the family.
We're a family hustle over here, man. The Silvers, we really over here. We really have like 10 businesses in our home. But I always tell people that's the entrepreneurial hustler mentality you have to have. So when things like COVID happens, if you lose one income or 3 of them slow down, you have enough other things that's diversified that your life doesn't stop. And that's what's important about radio. A lot of people, their goal is to get into radio. And their goal is to be on mornings or syndicated or whatever, and then they stop everything else. That's the worst thing you can do. When a lot of people work super hard to get to radio, and then when they get to radio, they feel like I made it, and then they slow down. I'm not that person. I've been on radio 20 plus years, and I still outwork a lot of people because I know that at any given moment, this could end. And now I want to make sure if and when it does, I'm okay, my family's okay, and I can continue to move forward.
So you said a lot. Because my next question to you actually was, because you talked about your family, is how do you balance all of that, with everything that you have going on? You guys are very hustling, you're hustle oriented, getting these businesses together and keeping them going. But how do you balance being a father and a husband and a businessman? Like, how do you guys separate those things?
The easy answer is it's not easy. I think we make it look easy on social media, and people believe anything you post these days. But it's not easy. It is a lot on my wife. It is a lot on my kids. It's a lot on me. Just last week I had to travel to Miami twice in 1 week to DJ 2 big festivals. Even during COVID, still things are moving. So it's a lot going on. But I think that if you have to make sure you find someone who understands your lifestyle. This lifestyle isn't for the faint. Everybody's not supposed to be with somebody who's an entrepreneur. Right. Everybody's not supposed to be with somebody who hustles the way I hustle, or the hustle way my wife hustles, because it can make you sad, lonely, insecure at times. If you have any of those genes, everybody wants the lifestyle until you find out what comes with the lifestyle. It's not easy. But we love each other to the point where we work through things. We go through any problems just like anybody else. The difference is we don't post ours on social media. Right. People think the Silvers have this perfect life. Yeah, right. We go through our stuff. We go through ups and downs. Right. But we love each other and we work through it in our own space. I always say, me and my wife, we've mastered the art of living a very private, public life. So people see you see us every day. Right. You see me, you see Ashley, you see the kids every day on social, but you see what we want you to see. And that's what I think people have to realize, is that you can have a public life, but there has to be some privacy in your life that people don't know about. And that's how you keep a healthy, strong relationship. I always say social media doesn't break up strong relationships. It exposes weak ones. And it's simple and plain.
Wow. Yes, that is true. And I just want to say I do love you and your wife. When I see you guys on Instagram, I think you guys are so cute together. And your wife is a beautiful person, because I know at one point she did have her own blog and she had her own podcast. She had another podcast.
So Fun Time Moms. So it used to be called Super Gorge, but it's now called Fun Time Moms.
Right. I remember she had Super Gorge, and then she had the website, and then now she changed the name. Okay, that makes sense, because I was like, what happened to it all? And now, she really is a hustler. You guys are cute together. You're really great together. And so I want to ask you, because you mentioned social media and how much you keep your other stuff private and certain stuff public. How much has social media helped your brand? I mean, you already had it established beforehand, but now.
Yeah. I mean, it's the gift and the curse. Like I say, social media is right, especially during COVID. Social media is king. Right now, you have to be active on social media to keep yourself relevant. And I think that's what a lot of people have to understand. Social media is used for that purpose, to be social. It's used for the purpose of marketing and promotion for us. So you're never going to see me venting on social I use social media what it's supposed to be used for. I really use it for a marketing tool, for a promotional tool. If you really look at my page, 90% of it is me promoting something, whether it's my show, whether it's a party I have going on, whether it's Fun Time Moms or Fashion Action, whether it's me promoting my gym workouts for Get Fit with Quick, whether it's my vitamin of the day, still putting out information. That's what I use my social media for. And I really use it for the purpose of making sure that I stay current. I have a strong team around me. Shout out to my producer. That's for me, that's what I use. Really utilize social media for.
Wow. Okay. And now that teaches me a lot, because sometimes I do vent a little bit. I need to stop that. So
a lot of people spend too much time scrolling. Me and my wife just had this conversation yesterday, and what I said is that 90% of people right now, they wake up and the first thing they do before they even brush their teeth is pick their phone up and scroll social media. The problem with that is it gives you a dopamine in your brain, and it could potentially make you have a horrible day. So you can wake up in a great mood and then get to your phone and see something on social, and now it messes up your whole day, because you're now comparing your whole entire day and your whole entire life to something or somebody you just saw on social media. I always encourage people, when you first wake up in the morning, do not pick up your phone and go to Instagram and Twitter, because now, for what? It's going to be there when you get there an hour from now. But wake up, get out of the bed, go eat breakfast, go work out, go brush your teeth and use the bathroom. Do something else before you just get on your phone. Don't lay in your bed doing this all day. And if you're doing this, what I asked on my radio show yesterday, I said, right now, we all have $1 million worth of ideas and contacts on our phone. But when's the last time you scrolled your actual contact list? Right now, you scroll Instagram and Twitter every day. You wake up and you're doing this every day. But right now, you have an amazing idea, or you have an amazing concept, but you will never go to your contacts and scroll through your contacts and say, who can I reach out with and collaborate? Who can I reach out to that can help me market and promote? Who can I reach out with that owes me a favor? Like, when's the last time anybody watching this has done that? Most people be like, damn, I haven't scrolled my contacts in probably years.
Right.
Like, when's the last time you went from A through Z and just scrolled and said, I haven't talked to him or her recently. Let me reach out to him to check on them. Or, you know what? I got this amazing idea for tennis, and I have a tennis star that's in my phone. Like, when's the last time you've done that? But instead, you have an amazing idea and you scroll Twitter and Instagram. Then you become frustrated. And unfortunately, it's a proven fact that most frustrated people quit in life.
Well, Quicksilva, I feel a little attacked. I do that every day.
Stop it.
I know I need to stop it. I'm doing better with it. I'm really trying to do better with it. So let's go ahead and move forward because we're getting ready to wrap up. You got to go to the studio. You got to do other stuff. Yes. I want to ask you, what is your best celebrity interview and why?
Jesus. I've literally interviewed everybody.
I know.
Everybody. My best. I don't really have a best, honestly. All of them are different. I think one of the most memorable interviews was probably Jesus. I don't remember interviews.
Or most memorable.
Jesus. Like when I say everybody, if you name them, I've probably. Well, you know what? I'll give it to this one. I actually posted this on Throwback Thursday a few weeks ago. My first time interviewing Jay-Z was back in 2002 at X1057. We did a promotion on my show. My show back then was called Hot Boy Radio. And we did a promotion that if you're Jay-Z's biggest fan, you can enter for a chance for Jay-Z and Quicksilva to come to your house and broadcast my show live. And then what happened was when we picked the winner, we didn't announce the winner because we didn't want people going to the house and bombarding the house. So we literally just popped up at a house. And the guy who won, you can go to my Instagram right now at DJ Quicksilva and you can see it. But I literally went to the house with my Comrex, which is like a mobile device for radio. And I knocked on the door and I'm like, hey, is such and such home? And I think the sister answered the door. And I was like, well, I'm Quicksilva from X1057. I just came by to let him know congratulations. He's a grand prize winner. So they thought it was a hoax. They're like, okay, man, y'all got this. Y'all said Jay-Z was going to come here, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, just relax. 5 minutes later, we got the text from Jay-Z's camp. I'm pulling up out front now. Jay-Z knocked on the door, walked in the house, and we broadcast my radio show live from his living room with Quicksilva and Jay-Z. You can see the picture right now on Instagram.
Wow. Okay. That is really dope, though. That is a memorable moment. Okay. I know you probably don't want to talk too much about this, but I really want to go into maybe one of your worst moments in radio.
One of my worst moments in radio for me, honestly, I know what people will think it is, but for me, it was back in 2001 when I was number one and I got fired. I got fired because the radio station flipped formats. Okay. And at that moment in my life, I gave everything to radio. I just bought my first house, spent all my money on my first house, and I did everything right. And then the owner came in, and a new owner bought it and decided he didn't want to have an urban station anymore. And at that moment, I lost everything, like literally lost everything. I didn't have any money. I had nothing. But by the grace of God, shout out to Lil Mo. She was actually touring that year with her album. And she called me a week and a half after we both got fired, because she was one of the jocks that got fired as well. After we both got fired, and said, bro, what are you doing? I said, nothing, trying to figure out my life. And she said, well, I'm actually just got booked for a tour. You want to come DJ on my tour? I was like, hell yeah, I ain't doing nothing. I'm hungry, lose everything. And I DJ'd that tour, and that tour changed my life, because from that tour, if you look in the back, whenever I got a Pepsi, I linked up with Pepsi. I toured with Pepsi for years. I ended up meeting Fabulous and Missy. I was the DJ on the Rock the Mic tour with Jay-Z and 50 Cent. But all that came from that one promo tour that I did with Lil Mo. So if I always say in hindsight, everything happens for a reason. Right. Back to what I said earlier, everybody's life is tailor-made for them. So if I wouldn't have got fired in 2001, I wouldn't be a household name worldwide. I would probably still be the same DJ in Baltimore doing that same local radio show. But because that happened and I was upset when it happened, everything else in my life aligned. I went from being a local DJ within 1 year to being a regional DJ to a national DJ because of that one incident. I always say I'm thankful that it happened. When it happened, I wasn't thankful because I didn't know the outcome. But I'm thankful that it did happen because now look at me. And and that's once again because of my 3 principles: hard work, dedication, and consistency.
And I'm definitely didn't expect you to say that. I mean, obviously, anybody that gets fired in radio becomes a moment that stays stapled in your mind. I was thinking more of the incident that happened while you were at KYS.
The nanny gate.
Yeah, exactly. Because I actually was working for the same company at the time when it happened, when it went down. And all I could think about was, oh my God, like, how are they going to come out of this? And I know that you have been at the station for a long time, and your co-host, I mean, she came in as a co-host for you. And I just want to understand, because obviously that's a big moment. You know, people really put the blame on you and really try to make it seem like you were the villain. But at the end of the day, the real story came out. I mean, we all know what happened afterwards. I just want to know.
So here's the crazy part. Even though the real story came out, so do you know the real story? Do you know that it was fake?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's make sure you know. But believe it or not, you know, there's some people today that still hate me, but they think it was real.
Really? After even all this time?
It's been years, and I still maybe once a week get somebody say, "I can't believe you did that to you." I'm like, nobody got the memo that this was completely fake, completely staged, completely. It was an act. It wasn't even a real person. It was an actor. Like, it literally was fake. It was like we literally hired an actor to do a radio bit.
Right.
And this is what I say. This is the good thing about actors in movies. You ever watched a movie and after the movie you hated the character, but you didn't realize that, damn, that was fake. They were just acting. Like, that's literally what it was. It was literally an act. It was literally the producer at the time having this idea to do this. And we've done show at that time. We have done shows like that prior with actors and stuff. But people, you know, the thing of radio is theater of the mind. So people don't know that it's fake because it sounds good on the air. It's like watching reality TV. It's situation based.
Right.
So that morning we planned it. The actress came in. We talked about it. We rehearsed, like, this is what we're going to do. We're going to do this. However, it was so good on the air that it became like, this has to be real. And I'm like, if anybody's smart enough, can y'all please explain to me how a random person who's a nanny got into a radio station, walked into the station, and just got, like, if you really thought about it, like, this can't be real. Like, it's too many security guards to just walk. Like, so we walked in some person and surprised somebody and just put them on the air, and nobody, like, if anybody had any, like, sense, you like this, especially people in radio, like, they would hit me, they're like, quick, I know this is not real. Like, I'm like, he said, but right now you're getting killed on social media. You're canceled. I'm like, look, dude, the cancel culture is phony. They'll get over it in a week or two. Like, but once it came out that it was real, once it came out that it wasn't real and that it was, you know, staged, then all the backlash kind of went on her. Because it was like, damn, girl, we were rooting for you and we hated Quick. We hated him. He's a villain. These women are. And now you were in on this, and you and the co-host. I mean, I'm not sure if you, like, a video even came out of, like, when it was happening, you could see the girl in the background laughing and us, like, cheering them on, like, yeah, go.
Right. Yeah, I seen all.
It was completely fake, but it was so good on radio that it made people realize that the power of radio. Like, this is a great example of what I call theater of the mind. If you hear it enough, you believe it. Then if it trends on social media, it must be real. That was one of my famous sayings, that if you see it on Instagram, it must be real because it was on Instagram or Shade Room. So people, you know, once they got the trending, that's when everybody started forming their own opinion. And then now there's people, I hate him. I'm like, dude, okay, all right.
Just like, you just get past it. It's like, it's over. It's done.
So, but like I say, even when that happened, I think because I knew it wasn't real, I knew it would blow over. I mean, in the thick of it, you know, was it rough for that first week? Absolutely, because now, I mean, you got people really, you know, I mean, and all of it was completely social media. Like, nobody tried to come see me in real life. This was all just people. This was all people just tweeting, I hate you, you're horrible. I'm like, okay, all right. You know, maybe when you find out it's fake, you'll come back. But here's the most amazing part about social media, and this is why I tell people that social media and the cancel culture is completely phony. For 3-4 days, everybody hated me. Quicksilva was horrible. He said I was called blah blah blah. Right? Everybody hates me, right? Then it comes out that it's fake. It comes out that this was a staged nanny. This was all, planned. And from that moment, no one came back and said, I apologize, my bad. Like no one who canceled me ever came back and said, my bad, I apologize. They just act like it never happened and just brush it off like, well, I still don't like them. I'm like, dude, y'all realize like this was acting. We were acting. Like you were watching a movie with two actors on the radio and you hate the actor. Like, but thankful to God, like I say, life happens the way it's supposed to happen. So right now, I spoke about it with you, but I don't even speak on it, man. It's over. Like everybody's moved on. Life has moved on. Business has moved on. We're in a great space. I'm in a great space. Mentally, physically, financially. I mean, I'm fine. So like, everything happens for a reason. But I'm hoping that if this happens to someone else, you realize as long as you're true to yourself and that the truth always comes out, always.
Right. Exactly.
So you just have to kind of fight it out and now, let social media do what it's going to do, because that's what social media does. But then move on. Continue on your path of greatness, because as I mentioned, your life is already tailor-made for you. There's nobody that can take away greatness. When you're destined for greatness, no social media can stop that. When you're destined for greatness, no cancel culture can stop that. When you're destined for greatness and you really are a great person who really help a lot of people and really put people in position to win and really like go above and beyond, you're always going to make it. And I think I'm a walking testimony of somebody who never let my circumstances get the best of me and never let your circumstances dictate your outcome. Just keep working, keep pushing forward, and success is possible for anybody.
Well, thank you so much, Quicksilva. I know you got to go. You got other things to do. Just drop your socials one more time, for those that are watching this, especially new radio fan.
I'm at DJ Quicksilva, and of course at Quicksilva Show on everything. And I appreciate yourself. I appreciate all the love, support, and people that's been supporting me and the show and my family, and my businesses and everything. And I think for me, it's just, I want to continue to be a walking example that you can make it. I don't care where you come from. I come from really bad circumstances. Most people don't know. My backstory is rough. I mean, I lost my mom at 10, lost my dad at 18. I didn't go to college. I don't have any college degrees. I've been canceled. I've been through everything you can think of bad. But I'm still here. I'm still here. I'm stronger. I'm wise, and I'm better in every form and way and shape of my life. Because I believe that there's a higher power that already has your life destined for you. And it's no matter what anybody says about you or think about you, as long as you believe in yourself and you put in the hard work, dedication, and you're consistent in life, you will win.
Yes. Hallelujah. Give applause on that. That's the truth. Well, thank you so much for your words of wisdom.
Appreciate you, man.
We appreciate you. Hey, guys, we will have more coming your way. I got one last episode before the end of Black History Month. Stay tuned. See ya.